You ever have one of those days where you're just done? Like, mentally checked out, physically exhausted, and all you want is to cross the last few things off your never-ending to-do list. Yeah, that was me, Raphael, a few weeks ago. I'm 42, average guy, but lately, I've been wading through the chaotic waters of becoming a landlord for the third time. Turns out, setting up a rental property is just a polite way of saying, prepare for a mountain of unexpected errands and minor existential crises. So, there I was, in a busy hardware store, just trying to grab some specific paint supplies for the new place, looking less like a middle-class man and more like a human dust bunny after a long day of moving boxes and wrangling contractors. I was wrestling with a massive 5-gallon bucket of primer near the paint counter, trying to figure out which tint base I needed, when a voice, sharp enough to cut through the store's drone, pierced my concentration. "Excuse me, are you just going to stand there all day, or are you actually going to help a paying customer?" I slowly straightened up, feeling a crick in my back. Before me stood a woman, late 50s maybe, with a meticulously styled blonde bob and an expression that screamed, "I've been inconvenienced." She was pointing directly at me. "Ma'am, I don't actually work here," I said, trying to be polite, gesturing vaguely at my grimy jeans and plain t-shirt, which definitely lacked any store logo. "I'm just trying to find some paint myself." Her eyes narrowed, the inconvenienced expression quickly curdling into outright indignation. "Oh, please, don't insult my intelligence. You're standing right behind the paint counter, looking like you just rolled out of bed, clearly avoiding work. Just load these cans for me and make it snappy. I don't have all day for your laziness." She gestured imperiously at a couple of gallon cans near her cart. A sigh escaped me when I hadn't even realized I was holding. My patience, already thin from a day of home improvement hell, was fraying fast. "Look, I'm not an employee. I can't help you." That's when Karen, and yes, she was a certified Karen, decided to truly go for broke. Her voice ratcheted up a notch, echoing slightly through the high ceilings. "This is unacceptable. You people are all the same. Always trying to get out of doing your jobs. I want to speak to your manager right now, and I want him to know you're refusing to serve customers and giving me attitude." She huffed, puffed, and then, without waiting for a response, marched off with surprising speed towards the front of the store, presumably to find the manager. I watched her go, shaking my head. Part of me just wanted to grab my primer and vanish, but another, more ingrained part, knew this wasn't going to end quietly. Moments later, Karen returned, practically dragging the store manager, a harried-looking man named Frank, by the arm. Frank's eyes, wide with a familiar exasperation, landed on me. And then something happened. The color drained from his face, and his already slumped shoulders seemed to sink even further. "Raphael, sir, I am so sorry about this," Frank stammered, his gaze flicking nervously between me and the fuming woman beside him. He knew me. Not personally, but professionally. He knew exactly who I was. Karen, however, was oblivious. Sorry for what, Frank? Sorry that this lazy, insolent Mexican won't do his job and has the audacity to argue with a customer. You should be apologizing to me. And you need to fire him on the spot." Her voice was now a full-blown shriek, drawing stares from other shoppers. She even lunged a little, pushing me back a step with a surprising amount of force. That was the line. The racism, the public disturbance, the physical contact. My internal switch, the one that governs civilian Raphael versus officer Raphael, flipped. All the exhaustion, all the frustration drained away, replaced by a cold, quiet focus. I reached for my pocket, pulling out my wallet, extracting a small, laminated card. "Ma'am," I said, my voice steady, cutting through her tirade, "you're making a huge mistake." I held up the badge, the glint of the metal catching the fluorescent light. "I am not an employee here. I am a police officer off duty." "And you just assaulted an officer and uttered a racial slur." Karen's mouth snapped shut. Her eyes, wide and disbelieving, darted from the badge to my face, then to Frank, whose face was now a mask of pure terror. What? No, you're lying. He's lying, Frank. I didn't dignify that with a response. I pulled out my phone, dialing a familiar number. Hey, Chief, it's Raphael. Yeah, I'm at the Home Depot on Main. I need a unit. We've got a situation here involving an assault and a hate incident. No, I'm fine, but she's persistent. Within minutes, the unmistakable wail of sirens grew louder, culminating in 2 patrol cars pulling up outside the store. 2 uniformed officers entered, followed shortly by Lieutenant Davies and Detective Morales, both of whom recognized me immediately. Raphael, you okay? Davies asked, his gaze assessing me, then shifting to Karen, who was now sputtering incoherently. I'm good, Lieutenant, I confirmed, but she's been quite a handful. Just assaulted me, actually. Morales, ever the thorough one, was already speaking with Frank and asking about security footage. Ma'am, one of the uniformed officers said to Karen, you're going to have to come with us. Karen's face, a moment ago crimson with rage, went stark white. No, you can't, he's lying. He had a gun. He threatened me. Detective Morales, who was already reviewing Frank's account and had the security footage confirmed, just raised an eyebrow. He's supposed to have a gun, ma'am. He's a cop. The handcuffs clicked. As they led Karen out, past a growing crowd of gawking shoppers, she continued to scream, her protests trailing off into the parking lot. It was a bizarre, surreal end to a day that started with paint swatches and ended with police lights. They did ask me, of course, if I'd provoked the incident. I just told them I was trying to do my job, getting supplies for a rental property, and trying to avoid a confrontation. The security footage, Frank's testimony, and my own statement corroborated everything. Karen, it turned out, wasn't just having a bad day, she had a history. The judge wasn't lenient. 3 months in jail for assault, followed by 3 years of probation. Sitting in my new rental property later that week, staring at a freshly painted wall, I couldn't help but reflect. It wasn't about the power or being a cop. It was about something simpler, something we often forget. Just be kind. Be polite. Don't assume. And for God's sake, keep your hands to yourself. Because you truly, truly never know who you're messing with or what kind of day they've already had. Some battles just aren't worth fighting, especially when the person you're screaming at might just be trying to buy primer for their new tenant.
Before we get into the last story, and trust me, it's the wildest one yet, make sure to subscribe. You won't want to miss the next one.
You ever do a good deed and immediately regret it? Like one of those moments where you try to be helpful for 5 seconds and it just blows up in your face. Yeah, that was my Tuesday. So picture this, I'm 17, I smell faintly of French fry grease, and I'm wandering through Walmart after a grueling shift at McDonald's. I'm still in my uniform, you know, the classy gray shirt with the giant golden arches on it. I'm basically a walking, talking fast food advertisement. I just wanted to grab a new controller and go home to forget the horrors of the lunch rush. I'm drifting through the electronics section when I overhear a kid, maybe 10 years old, desperately trying to explain the monumental importance of his choice to his mom. But Mom, it has to be Emerald version, he pleaded. It has Groudon and Kyogre, it's way better than Ruby's. The mom just looked lost, and the nearby Walmart employee looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Now, I'm no Pokémon master, but my little brother was obsessed, so I knew the deal. I couldn't help myself. I stepped in. Hey, I said, giving them a friendly smile, your son's right, Emerald is like the director's cut. It has a better story and more Pokémon to catch. It's the one you want. The kid looked at me like I was a hero. The mom's face flooded with relief. Oh, thank you so much, she said. You've just saved me a major headache. The actual employee gave me a grateful nod, and the mom and son headed off to the checkout, happy as can be. I felt pretty good about myself. My good deed for the day was done. Or so I thought. That's when I felt a sharp, insistent tap on my shoulder. I turned around to see a woman who had "I want to speak to the manager" written all over her face. She was probably in her late 60s, with a tight perm and a sour expression. Trailing a few feet behind her was her husband, a man who looked like he had died inside around 1997 and was just waiting for his body to catch up. "Excuse me," she barked, not asked. "We need help with these televisions, now." I was a bit taken aback. "Oh, sorry, I don't actually work here." I gestured down at my McDonald's shirt. "I'm just grabbing a few things." She squinted at my uniform, then back at my face, as if the golden arches were some kind of complex puzzle she had to solve. "Don't be ridiculous," she snapped. "I just saw you helping that other family. Don't lie to me." "Oh, boys, here we go." "Ma'am," I said, trying to keep my cool. "I only helped them because I happened to know about the video game they were buying. It was a come-on thing. I know absolutely nothing about TVs." Her face scrunched up like she'd just bitten into a lemon. The logic simply wasn't computing. "So what you're saying," she said, her voice rising, "is that you help the young people with their little toys, but you refuse to help your older customers with a real purchase. Is that the kind of service Walmart provides now? Picking and choosing who you help based on age." My brain literally did a full-on blue screen. I was being accused of ageism over TVs I knew nothing about, by a woman who thought I sold McFlurries for a living. "Ma'am, I really don't work here," I repeated, pointing more emphatically at my shirt. "I work at McDonald's. Do you want me to tell you the difference between a Big Mac and a Quarter Pounder? Because I can do that. TV's not a clue." This was the wrong thing to say. Her face went from sour to furious. "I have had enough of your attitude, young man. This is the worst customer service I have ever received. I want to speak to your manager." And there it was, the final boss line. I couldn't help it. A huge grin spread across my face. "My manager?" I asked deadpan. "Sure. His name is Kevin. He's currently flipping burgers over on 5th Street. You want his number?" The woman just stared at me, her mouth hanging open. Her husband, who had been silent this whole time, finally seemed to process the McDonald's logo on my shirt. He let out a quiet sigh, gently took his wife's arm and muttered, "Come on, Martha. Let's just find someone else." Martha wasn't having it, but she let him pull her away, still glaring daggers at me over her shoulder. As they shuffled off, I swear I almost called after them, "Can I interest you in some fries with that TV?"
You know that soul-crushing dread when you're staring down a deadline, fingers flying across the keyboard, a caffeine IV practically plugged into your arm, and then poof, the internet just vanishes? That was me. One minute I was deep in a research paper in my dorm room, the next, the dreaded no internet connection icon mockingly stared back from my screen, dead as a doornail, a digital brick. I tried the usual Hail Marys, restarted the router, sacrificed a packet of ramen to the Wi-Fi gods, nothing. Panic was starting to set in, my only hope. My landlady, a sweet woman with a heart of gold, but let's just say a slightly unique relationship with technology. Still, she's always up for helping, so I figured I'd give her a call. I dialed her number, hitting speakerphone so she could maybe, just maybe, hear the digital silence that was my internet connection. "Hi, landlady," I started, trying to keep my voice calm. "It's my name from dorm room 3B. Listen, my internet just completely died. Like totally offline." There was a pause, a sort of crackling static on the line, then her voice, warm but a little confused. "Oh, the internet, is it loud?" I blinked. "Louds, no, it's gone. As in, doesn't work, like I can't get online at all." I took a deep breath. "I need help getting it back." Another pause. I see. You want a discount because it's not working for you right now." My brow furrowed. I could feel a tiny vein throbbing in my forehead. No, landlady, not a discount. I need it fixed, so I can use it. "I have an assignment due tonight." I tried to articulate it slowly, like explaining quantum physics to a particularly fluffy cat. But bless her heart, she was already off on a tangent. So you're asking for a discount on 2 internets because one isn't working, so you need another one discounted." I pinched the bridge of my nose, a little laugh bubbling up despite my rising panic. This wasn't going to be easy. "Landlady, there's only one internet, and it's not working." I just need someone to help fix this one. She seemed to mull that over for a moment, then piped up, well, maybe my daughter can help. She's good with the computer box things. My spirits lifted marginally. Okay, a fresh brain. I could work with that. Could you call tech support for me then? I asked, a hopeful edge to my voice. Maybe she can talk to them. Of course, dear, she chirped. I heard some fumbling, then the distinctive ring of another phone. A moment later, a younger woman's voice, sounding a bit tired but clear, answered, Mom, what's up? Oh, it's my name, honey. She's got a problem with her internet. My landlady then put this call on speakerphone too. I quickly explained the situation to the daughter, from the sudden outage to my desperate deadline. The daughter listened, and I could practically hear her brain processing. Okay, so the router's off, you've tried resetting it, and you're getting no connection at all, she summarized. Got it. Let me just get the account number and I'll call them myself. And she wants a discount on 2 internets. The landlady blurted out suddenly, her voice cutting over her daughter's like a well-meaning but ultimately destructive torpedo. Because the first one isn't working, you see. I couldn't help it, a loud, exasperated guffaw burst out of me. It was just so absurd, so perfectly her. The daughter, however, did not find it quite as amusing. There was a sharp intake of breath on her end, followed by a very pointed, Mom, no, and then a click as the call disconnected. Silence, then it hit me. We were on the wrong damn number. The daughter had just hung up on her own mother, who was trying to help me by calling someone else. Oh my goodness, I mumbled, half apologetic, half hysterical. Landlady, I am so sorry. I think that was your daughter's personal phone, not tech support. There was a moment of mortified silence from her end, then a small, embarrassed cough. Oh, well, no wonder she sounded so busy. We both burst into laughter then, a mix of relief and utter disbelief. What a comedy of errors. I profusely apologized again, and she, ever the good sport, waved it off with a chuckle. I ended up calling the actual tech support myself, which, surprisingly, went off without a hitch, and they fixed the problem in about 10 minutes. But honestly, the internet outage was almost worth it for that phone call. We still have a good laugh about it sometimes. And who knows, maybe next time, if my internet goes down, she'll call her daughter and tech support for me, just to keep things interesting.
Don't miss this next video, it's a good follow-up.